dispatch online. They understand, but they don't reprimand their daughters. Bright young women, sick of swimming, ready to... Oh, what the fuck? Oh, am I streaming? Shit.
Did you hit live? Go live
I did. I don't know why it said that there was an output issue. I think it's because it thinks I was trying to multi-stream and I didn't have another key in there.
Oh,
Yeah. I was just singing.
nap
My
time.
beautiful... Oh, it's not. Sorry, it's not nap time.
Yeah, nap time. Oh, it's not. Sorry.
Oh,
my
shit.
God.
I'm so
I'm
sorry.
still on speakers.
Honestly, I think I'm on speakers too.
Jessie is today's first name.
Crocodile. See, I make it up myself. Hold on a second. I have to swap the audio over because that's fucking borked. Look, so much stuff is borked. This is why I'm saying. This is why I said the scuff. Prepare for scuff and make it double. I guess, whatever. Where's my audio? Oh, wait, it's in my headset. Why is it in my headset? I've been listening to videos. Oh my god, I did move it to my headset. I'm a smart person. I'm a smart cookie. Look at me. Also, it looks like the tits is working. That's something I don't have to fix. That's fantastic. Thanks, Echo. How you doing? Uh, it's gonna be. Where am I today? Hold on, sources. It's just. It's not nap time. Okay. It's not nap time. Also, it looks like. Look, my labels are all messed up. Everything's messed up. How you doing?
You go live just for nap time.
Yeah, I'm live. Okay, goodbye. Also, I'm going to. I need to put up music. And I need to move Lumia over. Why don't I have a background on my computer anymore? Oh, there it is. What?
Jessie saying she should be sleeping. Oh my God.
I wanna be where the people are. I wanna see them sleeping. Jessie, up where she sleeps, out on the floor. I don't know why you sleep on the floor, Jessie. I'm sorry. I want to watch her sleep even more. Wandering free. Watching the child eating cheese. Part of her world. I don't know what's wrong with me, guys. I've been missing streaming though, I'll tell you that.
You gonna read fanfics? Oh, what's the genre of this fanfic you're gonna read?
Porn.
That's the rating.
Oh, right.
What's the genre? You gotta have a story
Vor.
of some kind.
Vor.
Vor?
Oh, yeah, okay, fine. She sleeps on sofa. Right, right, right. My bad, my bad. But that, I'm just gonna say, hi, Mona. I'm just gonna say that it doesn't rhyme. It doesn't rhyme. It doesn't rhyme. Hold on a second. While I get things set up, that'll be my stream. Go. I don't feel like changing my stream title while I get shit set up. Everything's broken. So I hear music right now, but is it? No, it's not being picked up on OBS. Basically, I had to do a lot of organizing. Is this it? Because I had to do so much organizing, everything's all over the place. See, look, I got arigato. That works, right? But most of my redeems don't. I'm going to need you guys to like redeem all my redeems. Okay, it's very important that you guys redeem all my redeems today.
Yeah, all my
Because all of my audios are all in the wrong places.
everything.
I gotta fix this right here. Like the labels are broken because it picked up a different labels.png. Mm, yeah, we've been fucking busy as hell. Oh, I've been clocking in and everything, man. I'm clocked in. I think am I clocked in right now? Streaming, it's work. Yeah, I'm working. Different label, different label. Gaming label. There we go. Boom. Fix the labels. Bad Boy Blue, welcome in, welcome in. Oh wait, if you're on mobile, I should probably make this one on mobile as well. So sources for those people who can't see the Power Old stream. It's very important that you guys see this beautiful stream that I have going on here. There we go.
I'm in the process of. Yes.
Well, I have a folder titled OBS Elements. I uploaded everything, and then I went around. You're totally avoiding people at this party. Ooh. Did you find a dog? No, she's like, no, I found a streamer. It's even better. Oh my God, I'm missing Tristan. But to be fair, it's because I'm not on the call with him. All right. He's in the call. I'm not in the call. Okay. There he is. I found him. He was in the trash. All right.
Belong here.
Hold on. And now I have to make sure that Discord's working.
There we go.
We did so much work. Say words again.
Hello, I am saying
Okay.
what?
Okay. It works. It works. So I have a
My Discord
question.
is working
What is your last
now.
rule? I know you speak English.
Uh,
But I understand.
listen to the mods.
And
They're
it's
here
just
to keep.
if mods tell you to do something, like if Jesse's a mod, she tells you, okay, you say you don't speak English, right? One of the rules in this, one of the like unwritten rules is that the chat needs to stay in English so we all know what we're saying. If Jesse says keep it in English, then you're going to need to speak in English, unfortunately. But that's only because we don't speak other languages and you could be saying lots of naughty things. Ooh, I need to put you on my vertical sources too.
Why don't my toggles working? Oh no.
Are you in the game?
No, I got VTube Studio up and my
Good.
toggles aren't working.
We're fixing the scuff before we get into a game. Yay! Things work. Hold on, wait. I need you to throw something again. I need to make sure that was picked up. The audio was picked up. Throw it again. You guys are helping me. Interesting. We're both fucking broke. Again, broken. Okay, good. Thank you. Hi, Matt. That's like, don't worry, I got you.
Let us go.
Ooh, see, that doesn't work. See, good test for Jesse. Jesse has determined that Charlie jump scare does not work. So that is something we have to fix. Charlie jump scare. Okay, and care package looks like that's not working either. Okay, hold on. I'm trying, but you're all spamming the same thing, and the error message is right over my ability to fix it.
Okay.
The error message is all over it. Go away. Not you. You're good. All right, let's see. Audio. Select audio file. Like, everything is really organized now. The only thing I have to do is I do have to go through and like edit some clips and remove them because we wound up updating. No, I'm sorry. We wound up updating all of our or we wound up upgrading our Google Drive because we have a shared Google Drive now. No, Matt, you stay. You stay. Babe, do the share chat thing.
I can't share chat because I'm not live yet.
Oh, right. So we did the. Hold on. Okay, that works.
I will invite you to it though.
So we did upgrade our Google Drive from, I think it's like 15 gigabytes is the default one. We upgraded it to 400 gigabytes, and it's already got over 300 gigabytes worth of stuff in it. So we've just got to go through and like, basically it's a lot of VODs that I haven't uploaded yet. And so I'm going through and I'm uploading those, archiving those, and then I have to delete them, but it takes fucking forever to do that. And I'm just sitting here going like falling asleep at my desk, trying to do all this fucking video editing so I can get this shit uploaded. And I'm just like, I just want to fucking stream. I miss my friends.
That's the exact words she used.
So, and I was just like, basically, like, I'm just going to deal with the scuff temporarily. I'm going to try and get stuff set back up. For example, Charlie jump scare should now work, but we should probably do. We're testing the rest of them too. If you guys see any audio redeems, redeem them so I can fix Minecraft. What's it called? Minecraft drinking sound effect. Is that an OG? No, it's an MP3. There it is. Yeah, there you go. That one works. That one works. Also, I found my nuts. Like,
She did.
I
Yeah.
found my nuts. You know how I had that nuts redeem and like suddenly it was just fucking gone? I found it. It was in an audio file. I don't know why.
I had to go tell my mom that Aiko said she found her nuts, so I guess I'm gay now.
Test audio. Let's raise the volume on that one slightly. There we go. Alright, so that one should work. Ran into an error creating the corresponding Twitch on Twitch in order for Lumia. Which one is the problem? What was the issue? What the issue? Is it the color? The color? Is it not called care package? It is.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know why it said that. Can somebody redeem care package again? I'll redeem care package, no worries. Because that one, it's on cooldown. In an hour? Bruh. Alright, well. We'll find out in an hour if it's working or not, I guess. Care package, sure. Yeah, that works.
17817 said good night. Missed you. Love you.
Night, missed you too. I love you too. Please get some good sleep and I want you to have the bestest of bestest dreams. Alright, kitty mode. Let's change that. I just want to hang out with you guys while I work on this, okay? Is that alright? Is that alright if I just like hang out with you while I fix this stuff and then we can play Power World? Because I really do want to play Power World. I just like, I need to do this stuff.
You want my love.
Listen, I need to do this stuff to get this working right for streams. And I'm like, I could do it off stream and get it working, or I could do it on stream and hang out with you guys.
I think I might have figured out the VTube Studio issue.
How you doing, Nat? You figured out VTube Studio?
It was set to use my global FPS setting.
Whoa.
The global setting is off.
Ooh. I was wondering because like it's supposed to be set to 30, which isn't bad.
That's inside of it, but the entire app itself through NVIDIA app.
I see.
It wasn't even listed as a program.
Cringe.
Hopefully that will fix it.
You guys are gonna get to hear all of the audios. Which, by the way, that's another thing we have to go over is all of the new audio stuff. We're gonna have to go over through all the subathon stuff. It's gonna be fucking great. But we've got to find all the audios because right now the file thing says it's at pictures, OBS elements, audio clips, 2025 MP3, GYAT. Right? That is not where it is. Right now it is at Heart Blossom, audio, MP3, GYAT. Nope, sorry, not. Oh no, it is GYAT. Just capitalized. Much shorter file path. Sticking out your GYAT for the... Okay, look, that's really loud. That's really loud. We're gonna lower that. Sticking out your GYAT for the Rizzler. You're so skibbity. Hi, Nat. Here's a Phantom Tax. Tell.
I just wanna be your Sigma.
Listen, tell Hazel I said she's so skibbity.
Give me your Ohio.
Let's see what she says. Tell her I said she's so skibbity. She's never gonna talk to me again. Oh, actually, I don't even know if the Lumia audios are coming through. Are they? Ooh, let's find out.
My VTube Studio wasn't even connected when I relaunched Lumia.
Yeah, it is. Okay, good. Sounds good. Skibbity. You're so Phantom Tax. I just wanna be your Sigma. Freaking come here. Give me your Ohio. Ooh, another thing that I need to test as well is to make sure the other alerts and stuff work. So if you guys want to like gift me a sub so I can test that, that'd be great. Just testing. Wink, wink, wink. Hold on, wait. I gotta be, what's his name? What's his name? It starts with a D. What is his name, babe?
Whose name?
Starts with a D. The wink.
Duval.
Duval. I'm Duval. Also, I love that this is the song we're listening to right now. Hope you guys like, Oh, she squealed. Like with a smile or with like a repulsed face?
Was she repulsed? We need to know.
No, she wasn't repulsed. She seemed really excited about it. She's like, oh my god, I'm so skibbity. What else needs to be tested? Everything. I'm testing. Hold on. Let me. I'm getting ready. I'm doing about to do sniff Baca now. Oh, that didn't work because you tried to do trash tuber. Oh, at least the redeem. That look. It does look like it didn't affect like all this other stuff. Also, I'm gonna show you guys something I did later, and you guys are gonna think it's so fucking cool. Let me see if 30.
You kind of smell like a baka.
I'm gonna put that up to 35, so it's a little bit louder. The only thing is if I do it right now, my computer will explode. She asked if she's Skibbity. She's Phantom Tax. She's so Phantom Tax. She's so Skibbity and she's so Phantom Tax. And I want to be her Sigma. Look, Nat, if I knew, I probably wouldn't be saying it. Charlie. No, we did the Charlie jump scare one already. Okay. VIP. That one needs an audio. What was that? Oops. VIP did have an audio that was, it's all about drive, it's about power. So we need to find that one. It's about drive, it's about power. She's like sniggering. She's being so weird. I'm glad. I'm glad she's I fucking love her. I have like the best nibblings, dude. They're so cool. I want to tell you guys something about Nat. So, mother-in-law's birthday was the other day. Everybody come, not Nat, sorry, Hazel. Mother-in-law comes over. Mother-in-law's birthday's the other day. Nat, kids come over. Josh, them all come over, and then I know Ashley's name, but I try to group everybody together. But I was like, wait a second, there's only two of them. That's like them, I guess. Anyways, so she winds up crushing her finger, and she's sitting there like, oh, I crushed my finger and it hurts, and I was like, oh, okay, she'll be fine. You know, and Nat's like, no, she's like really stoic. Like, if she ever expresses that something hurts, like, we need to ask, like, does she need to go to the hospital or something? And I'm like, dude, like, this girl is like so fucking put together. And she's so smart, and she's like really good dancer, and she's like part of like school. Is she like part of the government or government things or activity council or something like. I don't know. She's like a really put together kid, dude. I just think she's really cool. If I was in school, I would have thought she's a school captain. This is what I'm saying. Like, if I was in school, I'd absolutely want to be her friend. I want to be her friend now. And she's like 12. Wait, 14? How old's Hazel been? She just had a birthday. I don't know which one it was.
37.
She's 37? Yeah, all right. Well, she can be my
Lovely.
friend. That's age appropriate. I just get to be her aunt, okay? She's cool. I like her. It's about drive. It's about power. Okay.
Oh yeah, Spotify.
She does like 6 dance classes. She's assistant teacher. This is what I'm saying. Like, look at her. Like, who does that? She's so young, man. Oh, she is 12, dude. This is what I'm saying. That's wild. She's like a legit cool kid. And anybody that says she's not a cool kid, they can go fuck themselves. I don't know who the hell they're talking about. They're just jealous. It's about drive, it's about power. That's what we do about. I cannot read properties of undefined reading play. I could be singing to myself right now. Now I get to do that again because I didn't actually hear if it was working. And that, oh, the Spotify actions. That's what that was. Okay, hold on. I thought, I disconnected Spotify, but it's clear that it's possible it didn't. No, it did. It did. I don't know why. I see. Okay. It's trying to tell me that because in that particular scene, it wants me to pause Spotify so that that song can play. But also, I can't pause Spotify because I don't have it connected. That's why the error message coming. Hi, Hop. How you doing? I feel like I had a dream about you, Hop. What the fuck? I don't remember what it was about, but I feel like you were in my dream. I'm trying to fix everything. Okay, so I'm going to do this and then actions. We can remove. Oh, there's no actions. Audio? No, it's fine. There's no. What's my age again? Yeah, I don't know. There's no section on here. I don't see where it says edit Spotify. Gonna make $1 million dono. Why? If I tell you are my dreams gonna come true? If I say yes, you're gonna make my dreams come true? Alright, I'll close it. I think that's fine. I'm probably just gonna get the error message, even though I don't even have it technically synced up right now. It is what it is. I wish I had that money dono. Wouldn't that be so cool, dude? I would too. If I had like $1 million, I'd be just like going over to some random friends, like, here, I have $1,000. Here, I have $1,000. Fucking nothing. Have $1,000. Now I have to find my trash audio, and I downloaded that recently.
And that would be why you wouldn't be a millionaire.
Yeah.
You just fucking donated all the random people on Twitch.
Never be a millionaire. I just want to give people money. I need to do the trash thing. Audio. STFU, trash, filthy Frank.
All that.
Basically, we redid a lot of our audio file things too. And we redid all of our stuff, so all of our stuff's fucking broken right now, so we're trying to fix it. Trash. And I'm doing it with audio stuff, so I like just chatting with you guys before we get started on. Oh, there it is. That. I just want to chat with you guys. I miss you guys so much. The funny thing is here's what I told Tristan yesterday as we were laying down to go to bed. I was like, hey, you know how I didn't stream from like October to like May? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, these last 2 days have felt like the longest days of my life. I miss my friends. I miss streaming.
That genuinely felt shorter than than the past couple of days.
Shut the fuck up! Know your fucking place, trash!
What should I make my title? Powell and Chill, sure.
Mine says prepare for scuff and make it double, I guess. I don't know. That's literally what it says.
The fuck did this just... Okay.
Chibi mode. What is a chibi? Chibi. Anime magic sound effect. We just gotta go find them all. Don't mind me. Anime wow or anime magic. There we go. Anime magic. 50.
Streaming.
Wing. Okay. You're scraping up a couple grand yourself. Same, honestly, same. And that was another thing I was working on too, is like in addition to doing all that stuff, I was also doing PC research because I was thinking, and like, let me know if you guys would even be interested in doing this. Not you, Hop, specifically, because I know you're poor. Kidding, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. I know you're also doing the same thing. That's what I mean. If I were to like put a goal up here, like if I listed the computer and had all the specs and everything and you knew where I was getting it from and you could see exactly what it was, maybe you guys could like contribute towards it. So I could be like, this is how much this costs. So you guys know I'm not just taking your money and being like, haha, I'm gonna go party with it. Actually, it's every single penny of it would go directly to the PC.
How we get rich? Don't tell them. Don't tell them. Just be disingenuous and...
Yeah, totally. That's totally us. Disingenuous. Roulette. We do need to go over today. We need to go over I said casino because I'm reading. Man, I'm the one who wanted like 2,800 or so last month. Now it's over 3,000. Really? Damn. See, that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the price increasing by like a lot. Yeah, that sounds good. Which, if I were to do.
Shut the fuck up! Know your fucking place, trash!
It's the roulette. It's the roulette one for egg roulette. I'm testing all the audios. I got it now at Crocodile. Crocodile means welcome or good morning. No, what does it mean? Does it mean welcome? Alexa, what does Crocodile mean?
I'm not quite sure how to
She won't answer that. She can hardly understand English.
So dumb. What does Crocodile mean?
usually
Oh
refers
my
to
god.
a warm.
What does Crocodile mean Japanese? Oh no. What does Crocodile mean in Japanese? What does Crocodile mean in Japanese? Do my bidding, you evil machine.
Oh no.
What does crocodile mean in Japanese?
It is here or I am here.
Kokodai is not a standard Japanese phrase, but depending on
I'm gonna punch you in the tit. Well, that
Crocodile.
means I'm here.
I'm here or it is here.
Well,
mostly I'm here.
Well, that makes sense for somebody redeeming first.
Yeah.
I knew it was relevant, and also it says like Coco, and that's kind of like Mannequin Man. I like it. Crocodile.
Yeah, we were computers are expensive. RAM's expensive. Everything's expensive.
Yeah, basically, we're looking at spending a minimum of probably like, I think a minimum of $5,500 each.
If we want just like a mini tower in one of those deals, and it came with like, if we got it with that $1,000 discount per computer, then it would be
Yeah, we're not gonna be able to get it in the, oh my god, I forgot to put your scene inside the Fujitech.
Yeah, we're basically looking at a small loan of $1 million.
Uh-huh. There you go for all of you guys who are watching on vertical. I'm not talking to myself, I swear. All right, what's next? GB mode, egg roulette, trash tuber first. Throw plushies works fine. TTS, has anybody tested TTS? Oh, I'll tell you what our main specs need to be. I'm gonna type it all out. 5080 with an AMD Ryzen 9 9950 X3D.
Yeah, we're wanting to future-proof to hell.
Yeah.
Effectively.
With, I don't care about storage, but hold on, 64 gigabytes of DDR5. And that is most of it, I
Tristan
think.
Heart Blossom said beep boop TTS test. Lucifer
Thanks, babe.
44666 said test.
That's basically the main bits we want in there. That's fucking expensive.
If we want to go from 32 to 64 gigabytes of DDR, it's like a $700 increase
It really is.
per computer.
Yep. I sat there, I put
RAM
32
shortage.
down. I put 32 down, and Mimi's like, oh, girl. That's not enough.
Everything we want to do.
She's like, that's not enough. You're gonna need 64. I was like, oh, well, I see that a 9950 X3D is like not available at this one shop that I'm looking at, but they do have a 9950X. Can I get that instead? And they're like, she's like, no, not for what you're trying to do.
Literally, we could get a car for cheaper.
It is way too expensive. Think about anyone from major gaming streamers. See, the thing is, okay, mine is not just gaming. Mine is the fact that I want to multi-stream, multi-VTube with Tristan, and we're VTubing, and we're playing games, and we're doing redeems, and we're doing subathons, and we're doing multi-streaming, and I've got chat up and music up and Lumia up with all these other things and tits up, and I want to bring back stream avatars, and I'm considering bringing back an AI talk creature thing, but maybe not Rexy. And that's, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Although she did say, hey, at least you don't need a 5090, because I was looking into 5090s. My entire computer, just by upgrading to a 5090, would be over $15,000. I could actually probably get one on sale for about 10,000. Everything. I think that's all the audios I need to worry about right now. But now we gotta check just to make sure the overlays work. Because it's the damn AI. Yeah, actually it is. It's not. It is the AI because they bought up all the RAM. Yep. They bought up all the RAM, and now there's a RAM shortage. All right, so I'm gonna do some testing. So don't get excited. I mean, you can if you want to. It'd be really weird though. Gonna do that.
Also, Matt, you bitch, there's ducks everywhere.
Oh yeah, there's ducks all over the house. Thank you. Wait, was it 2 days or 3 days we took off? It was 3 days because we had to
3
took
days,
off for
yeah.
your mom's birthday, and then we took off the next 2 days. That's why it felt so fucking long.
Yeah. 3 days, yeah.
Now you guys see that I'm testing this, right? So if it happens later and I get a follow or I get a raid or something and it doesn't fucking work, it's not my fault. However, I will say, let me do this really quick. What was the audio? How was the audio, Lucy? Listen to this. Because I've got the music going right now. Let me turn my music down because I feel like it's really loud. Okay. I turned the music down. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do Twitch subscriber. Okay. Did I not do that? Twitch subscriber. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
You can't use the word betrayal when you're talking about a company. They didn't betray anyone. They were always
Oh, shit. Okay, so there's no audio on that one for some reason. I'm going to test out the follower again. This is telling. This is telling. I'm going to test out the follower again. Emulate.
Sunshine,
Is that loud enough for you guys?
Everything that's
Like
wonderful
volume wise,
is what
is this
I feel
good?
when we're
Fix the other
together.
audios.
Can you do it again? I've got... It's a little bit louder than you, so maybe like
Quiet it
5%.
down. Okay. Because that's on a different overlay.
Yeah. That one's just like...
Wait, I don't know if he's quiet on stream. You're usually quieter than me, but I think it's pretty close. I could try and go in here and like put you in like the negatives or like on filters. Can I add gain to it?
Hello.
But I'm increasing your gain by 5 gigabytes or 5 decibels.
Increase my sound by 5 gigabytes.
Okay, is he
please.
good now? Do you guys hear him okay? Does he sound good now or is he really loud? Say words. You need to stop
I can
chewing.
also readjust my mic, but I don't want it too close.
No, it's fine. I'm just trying to make sure it's coming through my stream okay. You're fine. You don't need to change your volume. I just need to raise your volume. He sounds fine. Tristan, are you listening to yourself on stream?
I was, yeah, I could hear myself.
Okay, that's good. Much better. Oh, good, good, good. Okay.
Yeah, increased me by a little bit.
I increased you by 5
Readjusted my mic
decibels
positioning.
because I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it anymore. I had you as high as I could put you in the audio mixer, but that's why I had to add a filter onto you, a gain filter. Okay, that works. Now we need to figure out why our sub alerts don't work.
I'm a Tristanosaurus Rex. Rah.
Audio. The audio's there, but it's not. Is it local?
Okay, so if
Edit
I...
audio. Weirdly, it's not there. Interesting. Okay, I'll upload it again. Happy Together is what I used.
Yeah, we have basically like... I go more so with like all of her files. I did the same thing with my OBS files. I moved them, but I could find them
Yeah.
pretty quickly.
Well, my OBS files, it wasn't just my OBS. I had all the audio files too.
Yeah, that was a big one. Was all of Ico's audios.
My audios weren't the big one. My OBS was the big one. But whenever I brought them back, it was pretty easy because everything's titled properly. The only thing that wasn't titled properly is the labels, and that's because there's 2 different scenes. Look, I'll show you. This is not correct. You see this scene has its labels behind me right there, and this scene
What?
has its labels like over to the side. They're both
Yeah.
called labels.png. That's the only issue. All right. Now let's try to see about I'm gonna try emulating a subscriber thing again. That works. I think the other audio just broke. Like, cause I even pressed play on it in Lumen, just like to hear what it sounded like in there, and it refused. Okay, let's do a raid, cause that might be the same issue.
Okay, cool. Get in game audio. Okay. I've set my the YouTube stream schedule for 8:30, so I'm just gonna chill until then.
Okay.
Sunshine, lollipops, and green boots.
Oh, thanks, man. Oh, cause it's gotta be reflecting. Emulating what it would be. Okay, right, because it's doing overlays only. So I'm gonna go and check the audio for the alerts for the raid. I only have 3 different things, and it seems like 2 of my audios broke. Weirdly, I don't think, because I'm pretty sure it's because this is I'm pretty sure this is uploaded.
I'm eating crackers and dip.
Get there anyways. I think it just fucking broke. That's all. What's it called? Not happy together. It's wouldn't it be nice? We were rewatching my birthday stream yesterday. Where Tristan gifted me 100. 100. I told him, I said I had my the highest donator thing set to where they get an emote commission, but I wound up splitting the emote commission reward among the top 3 gifters.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had to give the top gifter something else that was special, so he had something exclusive to him, so I married him.
Yeah, that's the entire reason we're married. Just because of that.
It was a subathon reward. Let's see. Where is this?
Imagine that though. Imagine like one of those
Yeah, people that aren't like don't really super care about getting married and are like, I'm not gonna live with my partner anyways.
yeah, and their entire stream is based around like sexualizing themselves and things like that, and like the top gifter of a given like period, like
Even if
of
it's
a year is their husband.
even if it's not
or wife.
even if it's not a sexualized VTuber like a lewd tuber or whatever, it could be just somebody doing the girlfriend experience.
Yeah, yeah. And whoever is the top gifter for that year.
General community name, everybody simps. If you subscribe, you get to be my boyfriend. If you subscribe tier 2, you get to be my fiance, and if you subscribe tier 3, you get to be my husband.
What if you're married to you in real life? Ultra simp? Best simp.
No, you're just a simp unless you subscribe.
Oh. No. Don't give them ideas, my love.
I found
My
out
community's already toxic enough as
I
is.
found out there are girls on the internet that sell feet toast online. They literally take out pieces of bread and then they step on them with their bare feet and then they toast it up and then they mail it. It's called foot toast. I'm trying to crack my back. Just give me a minute. I've been hunched over at this computer for like days. We're not going to talk about any hours I've been working. It's disgusting. It's disgusting how much I've been working, guys. I said we're not going to talk about how many hours I've been working. It's just disgusting.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been working less than Ica, and I've been working more than
I'm definitely working more than a
8
standard
hours a
job.
day.
Hold on. I can look at my shifts.
Hmm.
View shifts.
I think it does cut out the break whenever you list
It
the break.
does. Okay. So I'm currently at 2 hours and 33 minutes for working today. I've only been live for 45 minutes, so just letting you know I have been working this whole morning. Saturday, August 15th, I worked for 13 hours and 16 minutes minus break. Or that includes the minus break. Sunday, I have 2 shifts and it's 4 hours and 2 minutes. Then I took a break and then it was 8 hours and 5 minutes.
I
So
think that's when we went to sleep. We had a nap.
I had another on Saturday I worked for 13 hours and Sunday I worked for another 12 hours. And I didn't stream at all.
Yeah, we have been very busy.
We've been very fucking busy. I have 27 hours and 56 minutes in 2 days. Roughly 2 days, a little bit more than 2 days.
There is a thing that security guards do.
hmm
They do
We're just trying to keep record of like what it is we use because eventually when we get turned into a business and stuff, we might be able to write off some of our expenses for like when we're using utilities and stuff like that during working hours.
yeah. Yeah, and the way it's calculated in Australia is for every hour you work, you have to keep track of it though.
Yeah.
For every hour you work, you get 70 cents off of like utilities, including internet, phone, electricity, whatever.
That's a pretty big one.
But if you're like a big corporation with a building and shit like that, you can calculate the exact amount you use because it ends up as more.
I gotta do, but since we live here and it's also private stuff, that's why we don't have a building or anything. Maybe one day we'll get an office. I don't really want one. I also don't know how sure it works. See, one of the things I was thinking about yesterday actually is like I feel like there's one thing we could absolutely do to improve our stream quality, but I don't want to do it. And that would be like stream in separate rooms or whatever. But I don't want to do that. I know that there's an echo, and I know that's the
We
annoying
know how
part.
to fix the echo. It just requires us buying new headsets or mics that are dynamic rather than compressors.
Can we get a nice headset that has a dynamic mic? Because like the dynamic mic does work. Like it's really well. The only thing is with dynamic mics, the way that they work is like especially what is it called? Like the shotgun mic. Those work really, really well, like in podcasts and stuff, because people can have conversations with each other and it's not being picked up on everybody's mic. It's only being picked up on yours. So if we got like a shotgun mic that we could tie to our face, we could still move around a lot.
The only thing though is that like if we do that, they're more expensive than compressor mics.
I know how much it costs.
So it's just
I know how much it
there's
costs.
another expense.
I know. Well,
Probably
I'm just
get
gonna
that
look into it. Like it would really drastically improve our video
Mhm.
quality or our stream quality. I've never even looked at them. I wanted the Razer headset because it looks like a kitty ears. Priorities, bruh.
Dynamic mic headset kitty ears. We need to look cute. Yeah, it's gonna be like I don't want a dynamic experience. I want the mic to be a dynamic mic, not a compressor mic. Cardioid mic.
Well, we have a car. I think this one is a cardioid mic.
Oh, cardioid mic would be what we
I'm literally okay. I'm just typing in. Can you get a shotgun mic style
condenser.
where it compresses directly in that spot like a podcast, but on a headset, so we can't hear each other through each other's mics, even though we're in the same room? I know this is possible. Also, we both have NVIDIA. What is it called? The thing for the audio
Podcast.
broadcast. So it reduces noise. It isn't technically a shotgun mic, but they're absolutely headset mics designed around the same basic principle, very directional pickup, plus extremely close placement to your mouth. In fact, broadcast headsets are basically purpose-built for this kind of situation. The big thing is that NVIDIA Broadcast is your second line of defense, not the thing you're doing all you want doing all the work. Right now, it's what is doing all the work.
Mm-hmm.
The ideal setup for you two, you want a headset with a dynamic microphone, cardioid, super cardioid, or ideally hyper cardioided. Cardioid. Pickup. Cardioid. Mic sitting right at the corner of your mouth, preferably a longer, rigid boom that lets you get the capsule really close. No.
That one then runs the issue of getting in front of the camera.
If we put the mic in front of our faces, it gets in the way of the camera, which is why it's talking about a headset mic. You don't want desk-mounted normal podcast mic at all. You want the podcast mic sound in isolation while the microphone lives in your head, so there's nothing sitting in front of your face camera. Absolutely doable. In fact, the headset mic's probably a better solution for your particular setup because you can put the capsule just beside the corner. That's already where it is, rather than directly between your face and camera, the ideal configuration. It has showing me this weird picture because it's ChatGPT.
I don't want this. I don't.
Dynamic plus hypercardioided headset boom. Okay. Can you find me one? Can you find me one? Ew, don't pull up a sure. I see sure in her little things. Yeah, go away. I can't afford that shit. Okay, I found one that I actually tried for your situation. It's way closer to what you described than a normal gaming headset. Interesting. Pick for you too. It's a dynamic hypercardioid microphone, headphone microphone. Basically, the magic combination we're talking about. It's much tighter rejection of sound coming from the sides. Dynamic capsule, naturally less sensitive to distant room sound than in many condenser headset mics. Flexible boom, comes from the side of your face rather than sitting in front of your camera. Only 60G. What is 60G? What's 60G?
Grand. Yep. Yep. What is going on here?
That's weird. Boom can come from either left or right side. Headband is sit around the back of your head, so it's quite low profile on cameras. I'm not worried about that. Not worried about. Okay. They aren't plug-and-play USB headset microphones. You need an audio interface mixer preamp for each mic or other suitable XLR input solution.
That's the problem for a lot of the mics. They require an XLR, which requires a whole fucking.
I
audio
feel like that would be more doable for us, at least in the long run, than streaming in separate rooms. I don't want to leave you. You hold my hand. I could do this right now. I'm holding your hand.
You can hold hands.
Holding his hand. He's cute. Guys, he's really cute. You know this motherfucker? He was sitting there rubbing my back yesterday. He's so fucking sweet. And I would not choose the Shure over this for your particular. I didn't say anything about the Shure. Pro. Okay, by the way, do you want to know how much this headset costs that she's recommending?
How much?
$140.
Not
That's
too
that's
bad.
completely doable.
That is
It
completely
doesn't
doable.
look like great. It does definitely not look great. Okay. Is there one? Okay. It looks a little flimsy. Is there one with more substance? I don't care about it being on top of my head. I just don't want it to cover my face, and I need it to move when my head moves. I know. We're doing a lot of Googling. We've been doing this a lot lately. Okay, there's the Audio Techna. Whoa.
Audio
No, no,
Technica.
we're not gonna look at that. Don't worry about it. That's
They're
it's a bit
expensive,
more
yeah.
it's a little more expensive.
Why can't I? Okay.
Uh, hypercardoid dynamo microphone designed to focus pickup on the broadcaster's voice in loud environments. Oh yeah, think about it like that. How many times are like people going out and streaming like in the wild?
All the time.
Yeah, they gotta have specific kinds of microphones. Honestly, much more compelling for your setup than little Pro 8HX.
I don't know why I can't choose this as my
Can you find
screen.
something in between that price range? It's a bit steep. It's $460. You said, okay, the microphone better tuck me into bed at night territory. Audio Techna BPHS1 broadcast stereo headset at $239. Not as bad. The other one's rated.
Disconnect this and then reconnect it. That would be why.
Proper chunky broadcast headset. It's black. That's the only thing I don't like. But the mic. The mic looks like a mic, dude. All the other ones look like the headset mics that we've been using. This looks like a mic. It's weird. Hold on, let me see. I can show you guys. Let me get this pulled up so I can show you. Not game window. Look at this. It looks like a proper like that's a proper head.
My gosh,
That's a
telephone.
Look at it. That looks like a little tiny little microphone that points directly at your mouth. Take that one. Oh, it's only $299. Who's paying for this? Who's paying for this, guys? I'll add it to the cart, but you guys got to give me your credit card information. I need somebody to buy this for me. It's not cute. I wish it came in pink. I'll continue looking. How is everybody, by the way? It is a fancy one. I'm gonna ask if they have it in pink. Do they have it in pink? Look, I just want it. No. Pink headset body in good direction. I'm like, no, no. I would rather have good audio than pink. Audio preferred. I would love it to be pink. However, I can, hear me out, get some pink duct tape. I can make it pink. I could paint it with pink nail polish. Like, and look at this. Hold on. Look at that, babe.
Yeah, that doesn't need to be fixed as well.
Yeah. My headset right now is falling apart. So even though it's cute and it's pink and it's got kitty ears and everything like that, it's already falling apart. Dynamic. No, I want hypercardioid. BH2. Oh, so the BH1, the cheaper one, is only cardioid. Is there a cheaper hypercardioid? Cardioid. It's cardioid. Oh. So we have the Audio Technica Pro AGX. That one looks really small, but it's cheap. I don't know if the audio coming through the headset would be great, but I'm not sure how necessary that is for my purposes. I like being able to hear things, but if it's like this is what I'm talking about. The hypercardioid dynamic head-worn microphone. This is the one it keeps recommending. I would probably be able to hear Tristan a lot better. It would be more lightweight, which would be nice. It is giving flimsy though, but if the microphone's really good, does anybody know anything about this one? Termination. I don't know why it says for wireless.
There we go.
I would not do wireless. Wireless plus CH, wireless minus CH, and wireless minus XLR. I'm gonna look that up really quick.
There we go. Maybe.
What is wireless minus CH and wireless minus XLR? You're looking at the headset microphone saying wireless CH and wireless XLR. Those are not usually referring to which wireless transmitter system connect their headset is intended to work with, not two different microphone pickup types. CH usually means a specific type of connector system depending on the manufacturer. For Audio Technica headsets, for example, you often see different termination options for their wireless systems. The microphone itself can be the same microphone capsule as the wired version, but instead of getting an XLR plug, it terminates in a small connector that plugs into a body pack transmitter. So headset to little connector to wireless body pack to wireless receiver to PC. The body bag is something you usually clip onto your clothing. Interesting. I could see that working. I could see that working if you think about it.
The little one that clips on our clothes.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not the microphone that clips onto the clothes. It's the body pack. So it goes from the headset to a little connector, and then it clips onto the body pack. So a lot of that, there's not going to be a lot of pull, probably.
Okay. Finally got the go live. There we go.
Wireless minus X. I'm not
But you're doing great, Lucy.
saying wireless. Oh, wired. It says wired. Plus XLR. This one's a little okay. So the one that I post, the wireless CH is the one with the wireless body pack. So that one you put on your body, and then has a receiver, a wireless receiver going that's attached to your computer, and the wireless body pack that's attached to your body gets sent to the wireless receiver that's attached to the PC. That's an option. Then we can stand up and walk around and everybody can hear us perfectly, which is
Hello.
great for
Hello,
when we
hello.
go to the bathroom.
You haven't played Power in a week, Troy? Wow.
Why do I? Me either. Almost. It's been days.
Why is this not okay?
I don't think I've
me
played since I streamed last, to be honest, though.
refresh that. No, that one's not working. Okay.
Your listing says no. It says wired. I just realized it said wired XLR. Would you rather have a wired or a wireless? Wired XLR is a headset microphone that has an XLR cable connector and plugs into an audio interface mixer, etc. An XLR isn't a special type of microphone, it's just a connector cabling. For the headset you're looking, it says wired XLR. It's probably the version you want if you're already set up for XLR audio. The microphone's pickup program pattern doesn't change just because it's XLR. Tell me about XLR. This is basically what we've been doing the entire time. You're doing great. I'm just chilling, having fun with you both. That's great. That's nice.
Okay, let me see if this now works.
So I could get. It's basically kind of like my capture
There
card.
we go. Wait, why is it no?
I'll wait for him. I don't know what he's going through right now. He had all this time to set his shit up. What were you doing, babe?
It was YouTube chat. I try to get like a custom dock on my
Play it up.
OBS.
Play it up.
YouTube chat.
Yeah, I see.
It's not in dark mode. It looks really weird. It's like blown out in color. I don't know what's going on with it.
Oh, geez.
Respect.
So the microphone sends an analog audio signal through the XLR cable, and the audio interface converts it to digital audio for your computer. So it's like they said that it's like a capture card. Balanced audio carries the video audio in a way that lets the receiving device reject a lot of electrical interference.
Why is this not?
I don't believe it makes it sound better.
Why is that so borked? I don't know why that's so borked.
I literally said my stream is literally at the end called Borked Stream. So
Yeah, we're both having fun with bork streams.
I'm just like I want to play Power World. I'm just also like hyper focused on figuring out this shit, man. I'm just gonna put just chatting for now. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna fucking flip to the screen over here. Because I feel like I'm being incredibly misleading in my stuff. Everybody's like sitting here waiting for Power World, and I'm just like talking about all this stuff that we need to get. Where the fuck is Tristan? The vertical source, Fujitech Group, reactives. He's there.
I'm Tristan.
Oh. Okay, there in the vertical at least. Group. Group. What's the group? I'm so confused.
That is OBS. Adding to graphics. Bin or beer. Alright, I can do this.
Fucking weird. I had to upload this as a source clone for some fucking reason. I don't know why.
Okay, there we go. And that. Maybe if I refresh now, it. But the problem is I can't.
Anyways,
Continue
if I can read these things to you guys.
chat. Dot. OBS.
So, we're trying to open our business. In opening a business, we need to get an ABN and a tax number and all that other stuff. And we're going to be wind up setting up our Twitch payout system to
There we go.
a business bank account. And we're going to be keeping track of all of our financials so that we
But the
can pay
tax man.
taxes. So we're not going to prison for not paying taxes.
We're not gonna commit tax fraud this time. Maybe next
Not
time.
again.
Not again.
So,
That's what we were
did
for
we
the past
lose
couple of
shared
days.
chat or do we still have? No, we still have it. Okay.
We don't share that. We should be.
Some things said only visible in my channel, and I think it was just the Pokemon community game thing. So, that's what we've been working on. I've had to take all of my files and export them to a Google Drive and then turn around and download them back or upload them to a Google Drive. Then I had to download them, some of them, not all of them, back to my computer so I could actually use them on OBS and through Lumia. So I had to get all my I had to download all my audios, basically just to organize everything. And the reason I was deleting from my computer is because I was getting very overwhelmed and I was like, I'm just gonna like upload it and then delete it, upload it and delete it, upload it and delete it. If it's uploaded, it's deleting. And that way, all I have to do is turn around and just download things. Right? I kind of want to see if something did kind of upload. I want to see. There should be something that I know 100% would have uploaded if it worked. Should have some kind of. Oh, yep, there it is right there. It is.
Oh my god. Lucy's first. Question, my love.
It's a Christmas sweater. You guys like my Christmas sweater?
You just got here, Lucy, and you're telling me to hydrate and to get head pats? Oh my god. And the head pat icon.
Okay.
But let me fix something.
I'm about to lose my mind. And then I have to go to the doctor and get more medication. And I have to go get my blood taken.
Before the medication get.
Before the medication. So basically it just means like before next week.
Yeah, so just still currently setting things up, getting back into the swing of things. I need to readjust some of the.
We've been talking about kind of computers we need eventually in the future. Now I'm talking about microphones because like that was like a big thing I was thinking about. I didn't even consider that we can get a hypercardioid microphone. Hi,
Yeah.
Sims. But yeah, so I never even looked into it. Because I was just like, oh, well, I guess we're just going to have to suffer with hearing each other through each other's microphones. But we could actually do something to where we could be in the same room together and not echo constantly. And that would sound fantastic. And it might be helpful.
This one.
Some people, like, especially like since we're cozy creators and people come in and they just like want to have us in the background, they might not like the way that the overlapping echoey sounds. I could see how it could be overstimulating for some people. It's not overstimulating for me because I'm here. Are you in Kuleg? Did you make it to Kuleg, Sims? Did you start your Kuleg classes, Sims?
Let me get. He said
I'm so
lunch.
proud of you. He made the
He's in
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid. Oh my
He's
god.
in Kool-Aid. So we're gonna go headset microphone to XLR cable to audio interface to PC to, okay. If I get give me some money. I need to buy this Audio Technica Pro 8 HEX. You're in Kool-Aid now. You should have that Kool-Aid money. Give me some money. I need to I need this microphone so you guys can't hear echoing.
Make this less loud.
How much is
How much
a
audio I want?
digital is one of those converter thingies? I need to make so many fucking converter thingies. It's the XLR to USB converter thingy. That's what it's called, an audio interface, and thankfully you don't necessarily need an expensive one. $80 to $100. Oh no, he's gonna be a broke college kid if he does that. He's gonna start wanting to get hit by cars. When I lived on a college campus, everybody who was fucking there was like, "Yeah, that's right. Hit me with your car. Pay for my college."
Especially if it's the college bus.
Oh Lord. Behringer. Is that Colleen Ballinger? It's Colleen Behringer. Bravo. Very budget friendly. And there's this one gives you 2 XLR inputs, which is particularly useful if you're using 2 microphones going to the same computer. Tristan!
What?
This one gives you 2, it's $150 to $180, Behringer UMC 202 HD. This one gives you 2 XLR inputs, which is potentially useful if you ever want 2 microphones going into the same computer.
Oh,
I could see that being good
could be. That could be
for
good.
like karaoke nights.
Yes, yeah. That would be amazing for karaoke nights.
Yeah. Our karaoke night that we're gonna have is gonna suck because you're just gonna hear fucking everything. We'll mute each other. We'll probably mute each other's mics or something.
Basically, how karaoke mic night is gonna work is like it's gonna be chaos. We're gonna be using one mic.
Yeah. Well, we could put both mics on there. Oh.
If we're singing loud, we already have echo issue. It's gonna be like.
Gotta guarantee it, right?
Mm-hmm. So we can have both mics when we're chatting, but then when we're singing, we have to mute and have one mic.
Enjoy Lurk Sims. Have fun with the Kool-Aid kids.
Beat them up for their Kool-Aid money.
And then give us the Kool-Aid money. That's how you get it. It's called robbery, Sims. Use your fists or a gun. You're in a mark.
No, usually a friend named Rob. It's robbery.
Oh my lord. Here's an
Okay,
important part for you too. If you're each using your own PC, you only need one interface each. You don't need some giant mixer setup. Your setup could literally be the BHS1, BHS2. I like it saying that, like that's what I'm gonna fucking get instead of the Pro 8 HEX, which is like way cheaper. It doesn't look great, but none of them look great. They all look bad.
Gamers aren't exactly, designed to be two in a room.
Yeah, I know.
The world thinks gamers are alone, forever alone. Why can't I have a gamer waifu in my room with me?
Yeah. Well,
I love
I'm back to looking at the cheaper one, and that's the one that looks kind of flimsy. But also, apparently, it's really good. And it's hypercardioid. The only other hypercardioid one, like the other one that I was recommending, the BHS1, or the BPHS1 is only cardioid. And then the BPHS2 is hypercardioid. And those prices are,
Yeah,
there's $200 between.
they're a lot more
After.
expensive than
This one's only, it's cheap. But even if it gets us like started into that kind of network where we can get a better headset later.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think now is the time to ask my mom for money. She's on vacation. She's spending lots of money. It's her anniversary weekend, guys. Oh shit! I should
Oh,
probably
to
call
be
them.
fair,
Oh no, it's not. It's not that day for them tomorrow. Tomorrow's their anniversary for them.
my love, we could theoretically,
Ooh.
instead of my use our current headset for sound,
Yeah.
because the sound quality we get through this is amazing.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
But
gonna
I
be
don't
one thing.
necessarily care too much about the sound. Like if it were up to me, I wouldn't wear the headset at all.
Yeah, you could just have speakers.
Yeah. But I'd also don't want that sound being picked up.
Yeah, you won't be able to.
That's why. But that's why I was looking at this. I'm like, maybe it would be okay for me because
Maybe you'll be risking it with speakers though.
no, I'm not talking about speakers, babe. Look at this.
Hmm?
This is what I'm talking about.
I'll get that for you.
Because it's not great headset,
Mm-hmm.
but it might be a good microphone. And if it was up to me, I don't really care about the headset audio quality.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna try and show you guys what I'm looking at right now, so you guys aren't fucking going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
If you're watching on mine, I'm going insane. I'm still eating crackers while waiting for Echo to finish up her researchy stuff.
You can't play the game until I load up the server, and I'm not loading the server until I stop going insane.
Oh, I guess I'm not playing Power today.
Shut the fuck up. So this is the headset I'm talking about right here. So when I was saying it's so small, let me zoom in. Okay. So like I'm not if it were up to me, I would just like listen to it through my crappy like my monitor speakers, which aren't great. So I'm not like super big or care too much about like, oh my god, the audio sounds so good. Which maybe later I could get one that's like, oh my god, this sounds so good.
The problem is
We would need to get a
audio quality for stream for them watching.
Tristan, they're not gonna hear what I hear.
Do they hear your desktop sounds?
I'm not talking about using a desktop, Tristan. I'm talking about I don't care. If it were up to me, I would listen to it through desktop, but I'm not going to, and I don't. I can just listen to it through this, and I don't give a shit. That's what I'm saying. What are you talking about listening to it on desktop for stream?
Because doesn't the stream audio go through your headset? Like, isn't it your headset audio effectively? So if you have crappy headset audio,
No.
no?
They hear it through your computer. They hear what your computer hears, not what your headset hears.
Okay.
Bruh. I
Right.
was so confused. I was like, what do you mean? If I hear it crappy, that doesn't mean you're going to hear it crappy unless the microphone is picking up the audio through the headset. They're going to hear exactly everything exactly how it is supposed to be sound. No crackles, no nothing. Their audio is determined by their own headsets. It will sound crappy if they're listening to it on a crappy headset. They're not hearing double because I hear double. They're hearing double because you're coming through my microphone.
Mm-hmm. I fucking hear double, yeah.
Well, then I don't understand. Like, you're sitting here worried that they're going to hear what I hear through my microphone or my headset, but you hear me loud as day through your headset, and you're not worried that they're going to hear that.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, I'm just.
I'm not worried about them hearing me. But if you have that, there won't be any issue with them hearing me.
What did I just say, babe? What did I just say? What did I just say?
You said that you think that I was thinking that the reason they hear echo is because I'm getting picked up on the mic, not
That's not what I said.
because it's what's coming through your computer.
That's not what I said.
And then
That's not what I said.
that's what you said before what you just last said.
I
What
was
you
talking
last
about
said
what I just last said.
when you were talking about how your how did you word?
Okay. Tristan, when we're on Discord, can you hear me in person and on Discord?
Mhm.
So when you were saying earlier that they hear what you hear through your headset, did you think that they heard me in on stream as myself and then duplicated because
No,
then why would you think that they heard how I hear through the headset?
because I was mistaken how game audio gets captured.
You thought that game audio gets captured based on what's going through my headset?
Maybe.
Tristan, you know how I told you that whenever I'm listening to you in real life, I don't barely hear you at all? I can't hear you. You're like the teeniest, tiniest voice in the world.
No, I'm not talking about us speaking. I'm talking about the game itself.
I'm talking about all audio sources. All audio sources, Tristan.
Yes, I get it. It comes from the computer. I'm dumb.
You're not. I'm just. Hi, Gary.
Hello. Yum, 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 yum.
So, what I was trying to say is because I do not care about audio quality and what I hear is not going to affect what you guys hear, I don't think I would mind so much getting this headset if only because it has a better mic than what my current mic has, and it would be able to cut out Tristan and eliminate some of the echo issues. However, this is $150 in itself, and I'd also need to get an audio interface at the same time in order to convert the audio from the headset's format to a digital format that my computer can read.
Yeah.
This
So
is $150. The next price up is a cardioid microphone for $250, and then the next price up is a hypercardioid microphone that costs over $400. So I thought, well, this one's only $150 only, quote unquote. It looks like shit, and I probably won't be able to hear great out of it, but at least my microphone will be better.
Not necessarily. It won't pick me up.
It won't pick you up.
You could be crackly as fuck, though.
Why would I be crackly as fuck?
Because we don't know the quality of that microphone
It,
itself.
Tristan,
Hmm?
the quality of this microphone is far above and beyond.
What you're currently using.
Yes,
Okay.
it is an Audio Technica headset.
Yeah. That I didn't realize it was that one was Audio Technica. I thought the hypercardioid you were looking at was Audio Technica.
This is hypercardioid.
Oh, it's hypercardioid, but cheap because it's like
Because
a
it's
not
just this.
built-in.
Yeah, this is a cardioid. Then there is the BPHS 2, which looks similar to this one, and that one's a hypercardioid. So this one's a cardioid. This one's a hypercardioid, and the second version of this is a hypercardioid. This one is 200 and something bucks. The one above this for 400 is hypercardioid, and the one below it is hypercardioid. But the only reason this one's so cheap is because fucking look at it. It is not this. It is just very different styles. Okay. You thought that I had just picked a random cheap ass headphone? This picture might look like ass, but that is only because it's a tiny version that I have had to blow up. Look,
I didn't realize it was Audio Technica. I know Audio Technica is like.
that's what I said out loud several
Sounded-
times.
I thought you were talking about the other one, the more expensive one.
Literally all of them are Audio Technica.
They're all Audio Technica.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
This one, and I forgot to pull this up. Uh, not this one. This one. Mayonnaise. That's not what I'm trying to do. Go. Why the fuck are you taking me to Manny's? Who the fuck is Manny?
Manny.
Okay, it looks like we're going to Manny's. This one right here. They don't look great. This one's $432.
The old headset I used to have was the Audio Technica before it fucking died. Just broke apart.
And they all three of them need an audio interface. So even if I get this really cheap one, it's still going to cost more because I need to get an audio
We need to get a
interface.
mixer.
I don't
Annoying.
think that.
Just- Oh, I don't need the stickers on me anymore. Uh,
Podcast headsets? This one's cardioid. This one's hypercardioid. Oh yeah, it's cheaper here than it is on Manny's. No, it's more expensive here
I
than it
have
is on
no idea
Manny's.
who the fuck Manny's is. I've never heard of that as a store. An online
$4.99,
like
$4.69. What's the difference? Oh, this one's got single ear. That'd be great if the single ear was on my left side instead of my right side.
yeah.
That extra ear costs $30. They put another ear on it. 2C. That's what is this? What's the difference between this and the other one?
Okay. Wait.
I don't understand. Polar pattern cardioid. Hypercardioid. Really? They made it more expensive because it was a hypercardioid? That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Wait, does it go? Is it more expensive? No, I'm so confused. I want to
Might as
I
well.
want to ask ChatGPT. Hold on. Okay. Why is the BPHS2C more expensive than the BH or BPHS2 when the only difference is the BPHS2C is cardioid and the BPHS2 is
Pretty dunkled.
hypercardioid. Shouldn't it be reversed? It isn't the same microcardioid, it's a different microphone technology. Dynamic hypercardioid, condenser cardioid. Condenser microphones are generally more expensive than dynamic microphones when you're comparing otherwise similar professional equipment. Audio-Technica specifically designed the BPH-S2C's condenser microphone for a lower profile capture and greater articulation fidelity, while the BPH-S2's dynamic mic is optimized for focused broadcast pickup in noisy environments. What does that mean?
One's a better mic, the other one is better for hitting eliminating background sound. Like if you are a
Well, what's a better mic for?
audio engineer and stuff,
Okay,
singing, things
so
like that.
if we were talking about both mics being in a completely silent room, the BPHS2C would come out on top. Question? Toop. I can spell. Yeah, if we're talking about purely voice quality in a quiet room, I generally give the S2C the edge. Better microphone and better microphone for your situation aren't necessarily the same thing. So that's exactly why. Yeah. So It would be technically a better mic, but it's not for us because we need hypercardioid.
Yeah, we just need we need the removal of all sound that is not directly in front of the mic.
Are there any
Echo.
cheaper hypercardioid microphones? I'm trying to like. I'm gonna get somebody to buy me a headset, babe. It'll be somebody.
I
They keep
mean, we're not gonna be able to
showing.
do it right now. We
No, I
can't
know.
afford it right now, but
I said somebody. I didn't say you.
oh, somebody. I am somebody though.
You're nobody.
Ah!
I'm just kidding. You're everybody to me. You're
You're
everything.
everything.
You're everything. You're everything to me.
I'm every object.
You're every woman.
I'm a woman. I'm more than a woman. I'm a woman.
You're
with a-
raining men.
Oh no. I've got men in my eyes.
Oh. Okay, let's see. Doo-doo-doo. Still want to put at the top. Audio Technica Pro 8 HEX 159 AUD. AUD too, actually. I keep looking at these as here's my problem, guys. I'm gonna tell you guys a secret. I don't fucking know
American
conversion.
defaultism. American defaultism.
American defaultism is a thing, and also you had a funny thing like that in VRChat with a woman comment. They so it's actually in my mind, it's actually cheaper now that I know it's an AUD.
Yeah. Things
LD
tend to
system.
not all the time, but they tend to list in AUD prices if you're browsing from an AU location.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that was on chatgpt.com/au.
ChatGPT, you've told Mimi that you're in Australia.
Yeah, I know. She knows. That's why she's given to me this information. Okay, so let's see. Ooh, if we got the Audio Technica Pro 8EX open
Get that
box,
fucking
we can
baby.
get it for like half price. But then we'd have somebody else's ear gunk on it. I don't want that.
You don't want e-gunk? Oh. I was playing a game with
This
text
is
and
about
acting, and one of them
put a
I
woman
put a
in there.
woman, and the actor said he looked like a woman. Oh no.
Oh lord. Don't want that.
I'm having a caffeine
Variants of the Audio
energy.
Technica Pro 8 family is still HyperCordo dynamic, but they're intended for wireless systems. No, I don't want that. Okay. So, like, if I get the, what is it called? Pro 8 HEX, is it going to break? It looks flimsy as fuck, not gonna lie. Your instincts aren't wrong. If you look at the thing looks like I'd accidentally snap it while putting it on. I understand the concern, but after checking the actual construction and more importantly, people who have owned them for years, I wouldn't classify it as fragile. I classify it as lightweight and somewhat cheaply designed in a few places. It's rugged design and construction intended for reliable performance. It's a 60G dynamic microphone. Nikki, how you doing?
Nikki! Oh my god.
Nikki, you want to buy me a microphone? I'm just going around asking everybody. Anytime someone comes in, I ask them if they want to buy me a microphone, or they could buy me a computer. Either one. Welcome in.
Hi, Nikki.
Let's see. Rugged design and construction intended for reliable performance and 60G dynamic microphone. How much is it? It's
You can say no, Nikki.
You can say absolutely. You can say no, but you don't have to say no either if you
You can
want
respond with get fucked.
to. It's $150. AUD. Don't worry. Hold on. Is little Nicky in Australia? I don't think Nicky's in Australia. He's in Canada, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Are you in Canada? I know nothing, Jon Snow. I need to stop listening to you.
You know nothing. I've never seen Game of Thrones.
And yet he
Not
says,
even
I
a
know
single
nothing.
episode.
You're in the US.
You're
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
there we go.
USA. I'm in he USA. Oh no, not the her USA.
He, not the her.
You don't stand for women's
I'm
rights.
trying to
Oh my
remember where he's
god,
at.
Nikki.
I know this too.
Nikki.
We've had this conversation. He's in Colorado. Is the Colorado the one?
Is Colorado the one in the room?
See, this is, I'm trying to like grab at straws here. I'm like, I feel like, because we've had so many conversations about where people are.
Stand for women wrongs. Oh my god, Lucy wants to eliminate female prisons. All wrongs women's do.
Chop off my feet.
I firmly believe in equal rights and equal.
Yes.
Yeah, equal fists for everyone.
I wrote a tweet yesterday. Yes! Wait, no, he's not in Colorado. Damn it. Fuck!
Been there for work though. Yeah, I think.
Oh,
we had a
right.
discussion.
I do remember, yeah.
Was that where you were last for work?
Yeah, that's where he was before he had to go home. He said he was in Colorado, but I assumed that meant he lived in Colorado, but then he had to take a really long plane ride home. So I think he lived in New Mexico. Oh, no, Arizona.
Maybe Alaska.
No, I think it's New Mexico or Arizona. It's one of those two.
Hawaii? Do you live in Hawaii?
I think I remember because I was thinking about New Mexico.
New Mexico was right.
Yeah, motherfucker. It was one of those two.
Toyota. You live in a Toyota? Oh wow. Alexa, turn the love lamp on.
I remember thinking about it because, like, there's this. When I think about New Mexico, Arizona, and Utah, I think about the desert. And then I think about.
Alexa, set the love lamp to 5%.
What was her name? Ruby Frankie. But
Oh,
she was
yes,
in
yes.
Utah.
Alexa, set the love lamp to 5%. There we go. She finally listened.
You live in a desert. Mm-hmm.
Do you know anyone named Walter Wyatt? Or Jesse Pinkman?
Have you been to that house? I heard people would throw pizzas on that house. They do in real life. They go to that house and throw pizzas on it.
Who? That's the correct answer. Heisenberg. You don't know Heisenberg? Oh.
So let's see. It's biggest thing I'd be worried. Let's see. Their owners specifically complained that the cable feels thin and isn't replaceable.
6 said Alexa play Despacito.
You're in my headset.
We are not going. Did he TTS that?
No,
Oh,
he
you
did. It came through my headset, but it was in my headset in my ears. She didn't hear that.
Yeah. Nice. Good. That's actually good. Good. I've readjusted what I can see on my OBS on the docs.
Yeah.
Rather than having the stream elements like multi-stream chat thing where it has both of them. And for some reason it just wasn't putting YouTube's chat in there at all. I have separated them into a custom YouTube chat doc and then the Twitch chat doc, which then gives me everything I would see if I was looking at my stream. And I've been home for a little over a week, but I'm heading back Monday. Oh my god, good luck.
Oh, you're going back to Colorado? So I think I should probably put chat over here, but also like when I'm playing a game, I'm looking over here.
I need
This is where my chat is. This is
enunciate
where my OBS is.
my facial
Dallas,
movements.
Texas. Nice. I've been to Dallas. I've been to Dallas
Oh,
a
you're gonna
couple
go
times,
watch
mostly to
Dallas,
the
Texas
airport.
lose to Dallas. Dallas Cowboys. That's a team, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too.
Let's see.
I know a few NFL.
I was trying to read about this cable, babe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a 60G dynamic microphone with a pivot-mounted flexible boom and a permanently attached 2.2 millimeter XLR cable. So we need the
That would need an XLR audio mixer.
Yeah. And they're pretty encouraging long-term reports. One owner said they've had theirs for 10 years before replacing because the foam had deteriorated and they wanted a fresh one. Another person reported using theirs for. Now, to be fair, they're using theirs for years. I can use it for years in like a week, you know. So, microphone capsule, I would not be worried. Boom, reasonably robust. Headband, probably fine with normal use. Cable is the part I'd baby. That's the part where this looks flimsy as fuck. Instinct is picking up real. The cable is genuinely skinny. The permanently attached microphone is only 2.8 millimeters in diameter. What is, how big is that? Is that like,
That's tiny.
is that my cable?
That. Yeah.
It just feels like standard cable to me. I just mean like I'm not expecting it's gonna be bulky. Like I know that
No.
some people, if they're trying to get like a decently bulky headset or something, then they think that the cables are gonna be decently bulky as well. But if it's just like normal headset mic to me,
One of these would be more closer to
you're being paid by
two.
your family to burn down the stadium. A majority of my family is Steelers fans. That's fucking funny.
Well, what you
I
could do
may or
in
may not own a Steelers a Steelers shirt. Because I was
Didn't
trying to talk to my friend about football because that's what she talked about, and I wanted to get along with her more and have more to talk to her about. So I learned a little bit about the Steelers.
I saw something the other day about how
I used to have a terrible towel.
the Cowboys stadium, their home stadium is a showcase of hostile architecture to the opposite team because it's got like a giant window pane thing that they do have curtains to block it, but during the day, if if they're playing, they just leave it unblocked to blind the other team.
Oh wow.
It like focuses the lights and shines it into the eyes of the other team, so they can't like see when trying to catch the ball or something.
What do you mean, Lucy? I have no idea what you're talking about. Crazy.
Um,
What a random thing to say in chat.
leg, arm, head, all things that can be consumed with vor.
Let's see.
What am I looking for? I'm looking for something.
I'm looking for my measure my tape to measure if this is
Where's
2.8
my old
millimeters.
beard comb?
Your old beard. I don't know.
My old beard comb has a smell like this on it.
This. It looks like it's 3 millimeters, maybe. Maybe I can find out on the website.
Can you pass the measuring tape here?
Yeah.
While you.
I'm gonna look it up. How thick is the Razer Kitty V1 microphone or headset cord?
Yeah, here we go. I was right. So, my love, this is 3
Let me
millimeters.
see.
It's the speaker's cable. I can't exactly pull
Oh,
it
I see,
further
I
without.
see.
So it's like one section of that is about 2 millimeters.
It's very lightweight. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm looking at just reading what it says. It says,
The
well,
pen.
that's what I'm saying. Good news. They refer to themselves as having rugged construction and design. Let's see. Cable is genuinely skinny. The permanent attached microphone is available is only 2.8 millimeters in diameter. There are owners specifically complaining that cable feels thin and isn't replaceable, which means if you manage to destroy the cable, you're potentially destroying the whole mic rather than just replacing an XLR cable. This is the biggest thing I'd be wary of with YouTube because you're going to be putting it on and off every stream, moving it around, adjusting the boom. It's not good.
Yes.
The fuck is that noise? There's a bear on the house? Hello?
I think someone's on the roof.
The fuck?
Yeah, that's a person on the roof.
Oh my god, you're 30% stinky. You guys are stinky. Oh my god, Lucy's 82% stinky. Holy shit.
How stinky am I?
Oh, I'm checking my stinky. 60% stinky.
Oh my god.
Tristan is
Thank you, honey.
92% stinky. 10% more stinky than Lucy. Stinky bitch. How to smell like a bug. See, good thing we got those audio effects. Otherwise, that wouldn't have worked.
92% stinky, and Aiko says I smell like nothing. Oh, what happens if I put deodorant on? How stinky will I be now?
Wearing headphones with it. I'm not wearing headphones with it. I treat the cable like don't fucking yank this and it should be fine. The headband is also weird. It's the other thing I don't love. It's deliberately low profile and lightweight, and Audio-Technica designed it to sit on the back of your head with pads at your temples rather than like a conventional headset sitting across the top of your skull. Some people absolutely love it. Others complain it's too tight, doesn't fit their head well, or isn't sufficiently adjustable. Or even reviews from people who have had theirs for years and had no durability problems but still dislike the physical design. So don't worry too much about it breaking as much as you saying this thing is fucking uncomfortable.
What about now? I have deodorant in. Oh my god, look
Wow,
at
that
the
deodorant works. Good stuff.
You wanna smell me? Later.
The actual microphone's performance seems to punch way above its physical appearance. For those of you who just got here, I'll show you what it looks like. That's not it.
I won't. Fuck you.
I need to find it. Hold on.
I am gonna have chat up so I can read, and then
Shut
just
up.
be reading some manga while I'm waiting. May as well. I've
Tristan
got
wants
something
to
catch
play
up.
so bad, and I do too. It's just I'm also looking at this because I think it's
No,
important to
I
talk
am
about.
fine. You have got a hyperfixation. You are going through
I'm going through
looking at
some
my
shit,
head.
man. I'm going through some shit. Look how tiny this is. Look how tiny it is. I like that it gave me multiple pictures. Could probably have it on my head anyways. Yeah. Like have it sit on my head. It looks like it's designed to go around the back of your head, but you might be able to put it over the top of your head anyways. Because if you scroll down here, the picture looks like this. It's the same thing. Go around like this if you want it to. You don't have to. I could see how if you have it in these clips, how it might reduce some of the pull. Babe, come here.
Mhm.
Look. See? There's these clips on here that's meant to go like around like that. And I imagine if it's in the clips, when you're pulling, if accidentally tug on the cord or something like that, it's less likely because it'll pull. It'll be like, it'll like help the.
It's got more bulk, so
It'll
it's
have a
like
grip,
you're
yeah.
pulling like everything here, bro.
Yeah. Then like right here.
Rather than just
Instead of
here.
pulling like right here, it would pull like right here.
Yeah.
It's small. Apparently it's fucking great though.
Oh, I bet Audio-Technica makes some great
And it's
high-end products.
hypercardioid.
Their lower end products tend to get manufactured in China
Mm-hmm.
and a few other countries, but their high end products are like Japanese manufactured, real high quality.
I'm just gonna put this stuff away. I'm just gonna pull up some Power World. I need to play some games. I need to get my brain off of this shit, guys. Guys, I have a problem. I'm addicted. I think you'll understand when I say that something. I'm gonna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. Actually, okay, so I'm loading up the server, but I think maybe we should, before doing anything else, I think we should hop into...
Pantara?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure our pals are dying.
Maybe.
Oh, son of a bitch nugget. I didn't load this and... I'll be right back. I'll be right back, guys.